So in this tutorial, we'll be talking about nutrition in humans, and we are going to talk about the introduction mainly. We are not going in detail of it. So let's start with balanced diet. What is a balanced diet? A balanced diet, it is a diet that provides all the six classes of food in their correct proportion. It doesn't mean you are taking the six classes of food, you are eating a balanced diet. It's supposed to be in their correct proportion. Just after balanced diet, beneath it we have malnutrition. It is a condition in which one or more of the six classes of food are being undertaken or overtaken, such that the diet causes health problems. So when we talk about malnutrition, we are not only talking about when you are taking less of it. Even if you overtake it, you are still malnourished. So malnourishment doesn't only mean you are taking less. It can also mean you are taking more, because most people understand malnutrition as taking less of a particular nutrient. Malnutrition can be taking less or taking more that is being required by the body. So now let's talk about the six classes of food. Actually, I cannot bother myself to talk about the six classes of food. You can pause, you read through the six classes of food with their examples. Now let's talk about function of proteins in animals. One, they are used in the formation of enzymes. Enzymes are proteinous in nature. As we define enzymes, are biological catalysts that alter the rate of chemical reaction. That means they can increase or decrease the rate of chemical reaction. Two, they are used in the formation of hormones. Hormones are chemical messengers that are being produced by endocrine gland. Also, it provides energy in the absence of carbohydrates or lipids. So in the absence of carbohydrates, in the absence of lipids, protein can be used to provide energy for the body. And the fourth one, they are essential for growth and repair of worn out cells. As we said, proteins are body building food. So they are the one responsible for growth and repair of worn out cells. And lastly, they are important in the synthesis of antibodies. These antibodies, they help us to fight against infection, or we can say they help us to fight against foreign particles. Now let's talk about the appearance of a child whose diet is deficient in protein. That means a child that is taking less of protein. We know children need more protein than adults because they need protein for their growth and development. The adults, they are no longer growing. As growth in animals, it is limited. So if a child is deficient in protein, we have the following symptom. One, loss of weight. That means the weight of the child will be low than expected. And also, they will experience thin limbs. That means it's their hands, their legs, it will be thin. And they will experience retarded growth. As we said, protein, they are needed for growth and development of the body. So if protein is deficient, they will experience slow growth, which we call retarded growth. And they will experience also swollen legs or feet, which we call oedema. and they will experience what we call kwashiorkor, which is a swelling stomach or abdomen, and they will experience change in hair color. The hair color will become reddish brown. They will develop weak muscles because protein are needed for growth and development of muscles. So if a child is deficient in protein, that child will experience or will develop weak muscles, and they will have pale complexion. That means the color of their skin will be pale in color. And lastly, they will experience skin crack. That means there will be something like a line that will appear on their skin. Now let's talk about function of carbohydrates. One, it gives energy. As we said, carbohydrates are energy giving food. And number two, it serves as a building block for other substances. Example, the nucleic acid, that is DNA or RNA, deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. Their backbone is a pentose sugar molecule. That pentose is made up of 5 carbon atoms, and that pentose, it is a carbohydrate. And lastly, it serves as a structural component of plants, such as cellulose. The cellulose, they are made up of repeated monomers of glucose. That means it is glucose that join together to form this cellulose. The cellulose is a polymer, while glucose is a monomer. When we talk about polymer, polymer are made from repeated monomers. Now let's talk about functions of lipids in humans. One, they protect delicate organs of the body. For example, the heart. It has a lipid layer on it that provides lubrication in order to prevent friction when it comes in contact with other organs. You know, friction, it will bring about the wearing and tearing of a part. So it has a lipid on it. That lipid acts as a lubricant in order to prevent or reduce friction. Number two, it is used in the formation of cell membrane. The cell membrane, it is a phosphobilipid layer. So it has a lipid as one of its components. And also it provides energy. In fact, lipids, they provide more energy when they are being consumed in the same amount than carbohydrates. But the body prefers carbohydrates than lipid for energy giving. And also it serves as a food reserve. These lipids, they are being stored in an adipose tissues. Lastly, they provide insulation. That means they act as insulator in order to prevent the loss of heat. We have a lipid layer in the hypodermis. That lipid layer in there, or those lipid in there in the hypodermis, they prevent the loss of heat in order for us to maintain our normal body temperature, that is around 37 or around 36.5 degrees Celsius. On this slide here, we have the effect of excessive consumption of sugar on the human body. So if you take too much of it, what will happen? One, it will cause tooth decay. You know, bacteria, they like to consume it. So if you consume too much of it and you are not cleaning the mouth as it's supposed to be, over time, the person will experience what we call tooth decay, because bacteria will continue to consume it and they will release gases and other substances which will lead to the formation of this tooth decay. It also leads to weight gain. And lastly, it causes diabetes mellitus, provided the insulin is not working normally. So if you are consuming too much of it and insulin is not working normally, you will end up to experience diabetes mellitus. Now let's talk about functions of water in humans. Most often when they ask students to write functions of water in humans, they come with things that are happening outside of the body. Like example, they talk about it is used for cooking, it is used for laundry. Those ideas are wrong in this case. The functions of water in humans are number one, for regulation of body temperature. When we feel hot, most often we sweat. When we sweat, the body will use its own heat to evaporate that sweat away. That sweat is made up of mostly water. And also, it is used in the transport of nutrients and carbon dioxide. It is known that 55% of the blood it is made up of plasma, and 90% of that plasma it is made up of water. That water in that plasma it is used for transporting nutrients and carbon dioxide. It is hemoglobin that transports oxygen, not water. And the third function of water, as we have on the slide, it removes metabolic waste. For example, urine is made up of mostly water and it aids in digestion of food. In fact, after eating, if you don't drink a lot of water or if you don't drink any water, you sleep overnight. When you wake up, you can experience what we call constipation. That tells you that water is needed in the process of digestion. In fact, digestion it is a hydrolysis process. So on this slide here, we are going to talk about vitamins. So we are going to talk about the vitamin A, B, C, D, K, and E. So we have two types of vitamin. We have the water-soluble vitamin and we have the fat-soluble vitamin. The fat-soluble vitamin, they are the vitamin A, D, E, and K. We call it ADEK, ADEK. They are the fat soluble vitamin. That means they are the one that can dissolve in fat. And we have the water soluble vitamin, that is the vitamins B and C. The vitamins B and C, they are the water soluble vitamins. That means they are the one that can dissolve in water. So let's start with vitamin A. It is essential for vision and skin health. So if a person lacks vitamin A, since it is essential for vision, the person will experience what we call night blindness. The vitamin A, it is needed for the formation of a pigment we call rhodopsin. That rhodopsin, it is a pigment that is found in the rod, and the rod, it is more sensitive in dark vision. So if that vitamin A it is being deficient, the rhodopsin will not be produced and the rod will not function normally. So that person, when the place is dark or when the environment is dark, the person cannot see. That is what we call night blindness. You can see during the day, but when it is dark or when you are in a dark place, you cannot see. And the person can also experience dry skin. We have a lot of vitamin B's, but we are just going to talk about the vitamin B1 and B12. The B1, it is needed for nerve function. If a person lacks vitamin B1, the person will experience what we call beriberi. And most often, those blood syrup or blood medicine, they have this vitamin B1, they have B12. In some patients, they will complain that, oh, after taking the medication yesterday, I started to nerve, I experienced some amount of nervousness in me. The doctor will ask, did you take that medicine with a blood medicine? Because the doctors, they know that if you take that one with a blood medicine in which they are having vitamin B1 and B12, they can help to prevent that nervousness. So let's talk about the B12. The B12, it is needed for nerve function just like B1, but this B12 is having an additional function, which is the formation of red blood cells. This B12, it is found in almost all blood syrups. When a person lacks vitamin B12, the person will experience what we call anemia and nerve damage. But the most common one that the person will experience, it is anemia. The anemia can be caused as a result of lack of red blood cells or as a result of lack of the pigment called hemoglobin, the one that will be responsible for the transport of oxygen. And next we have is vitamin C. This vitamin C, it improves on the immune system. So if a person lacks vitamin C, the person will have scurvy, which we call swelling gums. And next we have is vitamin D. This vitamin D, it is needed for bone health because this vitamin D, it helps in the absorption of calcium and phosphorus from the GI tract, that means from the digestive tract, into our bloodstream. And that calcium that will be taken into the bloodstream, it is the calcium that is needed for strong bones and teeth formation. So if a person lacks vitamin D, the person will experience what we call ricket. That means the softening and weakening of bones. Ricket most often occurs in children. In children, they will have a leg that will open up like this, which we call a bow legs, or the leg will come together like this, which we call commonly as K legs. See a child that is having a bow leg or K legs, and this person have not undergo any form of accident or any form of injury that might have led to that, what will comes into your mind in terms of vitamin deficiency, the vitamin deficiency that will comes into your mind, it can be as a result of lack of vitamin D. And we have vitamin K. The vitamin K, it is needed for blood clotting. So if a person lacks vitamin K, the person will experience prolonged bleeding than normal. The patient will tell you, yesterday night I have a minor cut, and when I have that cut, I continue to bleed almost for the rest of the night. So in terms of deficiency of one of these vitamins, what vitamin is supposed to come into your mind? It tells you that that person lacks vitamin K. Although vitamin K, it is not the only one responsible for blood clotting. We have many factors that are responsible for blood clotting. But in terms of deficiency in one of these vitamins, it is vitamin K that is causing that prolonged bleeding. And lastly, we have vitamin E that improves fertility. But if a person lacks vitamin E, in some cases, not in all cases, in some cases, it can result in infertility. And lastly, the last class of food that we are going to discuss, they are what? The minerals. That is the mineral nutrient or mineral element. Most often, students call this one mineral salt. It is not mineral salt, it is mineral nutrient or mineral element. So under the mineral elements, we are going to discuss some of them, not all. We have many of them. We are going to discuss this one based on exam purpose. So we have the number one here, iron. Iron, it is essential for the formation of hemoglobin in red blood cells. These hemoglobin, they are responsible for transport of oxygen. And if a person lacks iron, that person will experience what we call anemia. As I said, anemia can be caused as a result of lack of red blood cells or lack of hemoglobin in the red blood cells. The next one we have is calcium. Calcium, it is needed for strong bone and teeth formation. So if a person lacks calcium, the person will experience what we call rickets, or you can call it weak bones. As I explained that in children, the legs can open up, or the legs can form what we call K-leg, or open up and form what we call bow legs. And we have iodine. Iodine, it is needed for formation of thyroid hormones. When a person lacks or have excess of this iodine, the person can experience what we call goiter. That means the thyroid gland here, it will enlarge or it will bulge out. Goiter is simply the enlargement of the thyroid gland. It can be caused as a result of deficiency of iodine or when somebody take excess of this iodine. Next we have is sodium. Sodium, it helps to maintain fluid balance. When we have low amount of water in the blood, what the nephron will do, they will cause the sodium to move into the blood. And whenever sodium moves into the blood, water will follow it. So that is how sodium will help to maintain fluid balance of the blood or the body. It is also needed for nerve function and muscle contraction. So if a person lacks sodium, one, the person will experience muscle cramps, weakness, and seizure. Also, we have potassium. Potassium also, it is needed for the maintenance of fluid balance and electrolyte balance. It is needed for nerve transmission and muscle contraction, similar to what we have in sodium. So when a person lacks potassium, it will cause muscle cramps, weakness, and seizure.